Beautiful people, welcome to Gridiron Junkeez. It is Wednesday, June 7th, and the season's starting to get spicy. We're looking forward to the NFL and college football season. I've been seeing the Instagram posts, a lot of the college programs, 100 days away till a game's being played at this stadium. And it's got to really invigorate the true football-loving fans to see those posts, just like it invigorates me, you know, and invigorates me in a good way. Invigorating doesn't always necessarily have to be bad, but it's invigorating that it's not here right now. That's what I mean by that. And before I go any further, I just wanted to introduce myself. I'm Mr. George Carmona. I'll be your host for this Gridiron Junkeez today. If you like football content, make sure that you go and you follow Gridiron Junkeez across all social media platforms. If you don't mind, Nick, can you hit me with a screen share right now? I just want to highlight that right now we have 5,774 YouTube subscribers, and I would like to make that 6,000 before the season starts very attainable, especially when I got a beautiful person like Sammy Leotti on the last episode. If you haven't seen that, go check it out. But make sure when you check it out, you click subscribe. Join the family, man. There's going to be lots of fun football content coming your ways, and I'm getting better as a host. For a lot of you people that don't know me, I'm 24 years old. So there are a lot of lessons I have yet to learn about hosting. Although I feel I'm on the right path, I'm going to make sure that I can develop a community that really is like steadfast and strong, like all those YouTube people that you loved growing up. So if this is your first time joining, welcome. If you've been here previously, buckle up. Let me give you the rundown of what today's show is going to entail. Obviously, June is Pride Month, and in order to support Pride Month, I am going to be reviewing the top 5 Color Rush jerseys in exact order, not just my favorite 5. No, girlfriend. We're going top 5 for Pride Month. The next thing we're going to cover, there's been another player who is being investigated for sports betting. If you are a sports betting lover yourself, you're going to want to stay tuned in till the middle of this show when I cover this player. I will reveal the team name right now, from the Colts. So if you're a Colts fan, definitely be worried. At the end of the show, to top off the evening, I really like top fives. Top fives pop off. So why not go top 5 NFC South quarterbacks? And my list, after compiling it and looking at the stats, I feel it's pretty accurate. And there is a lot of mediocre quarterbacks, and I feel like it just it embraces a fun debate once I get going on that. But no further ado, okay, I am myself a very, very proud man, and I appreciate proud men who like other men. And I love girls who like girls. So for the top 5 Color Rush jerseys, coming in at number 1, we have the 49ers. Now, I know what people are saying, right? People might be looking at this jersey and being like, it's a little too plain, right? The charcoal doesn't necessarily pop on the field. But when I look at all the jerseys in unison, I really feel like the 49ers encapsulate here toughness. And although it is a Color Rush jersey, they said less colors and we'll still kick your ass. So that's the number 1 top Color Rush jersey. We're going to go in top to worst order here. And in the quarterbacks, we're going to go from worst to top. Now, coming in at number 2, we got ourselves the Tic Tac Beauties. Look at these Broncos right here, or the Dolphin. My apologies. The Dolphins right here, and these all orange unis. It matches Miami. It's very Flint Tropics. I love everything about this because I loved orange Tic Tacs as a kid, and I was the reason why they increased the size of the orange Tic Tacs. 100%. You could thank me for that. Coming in at number 3, we have the Baltimore Ravens. The purple and the gold. It's like not enough purple and gold to make you think Lakers, but it's enough purple to be like, that's a royal color. If you people have not learned about how the color purple even came about, stop what you're doing right now, go Google it, come back. Pretty crazy, right? They used to dry up snails and shit. Dry up snails, crush them up, and they would leave like a little purple ooze. That's how purple was created. That's why I love that jersey at number 3. Now we are going to go to number 4. I love gold. I mean, you see the set today. It's all gold everything. Trinidad James and this motherfucker. The Jaguars in these all gold. Now, people might say this is like a Dijon mustard. Okay, but when the stadium lights are hitting you just right, that's a gold. Now, I can only imagine how good a gold chain looks with the gold jersey right there. I would myself, if I'm rocking that jersey, black pants. But that's just me. That's just me. I like this jersey at number 4, then at number 5. It's plain, but it's my favorite color combination of all time, and it's the navy blue with the yellow. And it's like an exotic yellow. Here's the thing with the Chargers that I've never understood. The Chargers have every single iteration of blue and every single iteration of yellow there is possible. They got the powder blues. They got the dark navy blues. They have like this navy right here is not the same navy that LaDainian Tomlinson wore. Like that's like a midnight navy. Now we're like pulling back on how much blue we're giving. So like the Chargers themselves, they're in a great position to have cool uniforms for the rest of their life because they literally are not locked down to a color. Good on the Chargers, and happy Pride Month. Make sure you go find yourself a girl that likes girls. It makes life easier, boys. It makes life a hell of a lot easier. I had Nick back there, Chuck. He's like, fuck yeah, it does. Moving on. Sports betting. I love sports betting, and I love it so much that I myself wish that if I was in the NFL, right? This is how much I love sports betting. If I was in the NFL, I would ask for in my contract that a piece of my contract be allocated to my team winning every single week. Underdog, favorite, it doesn't matter. Every single paycheck, I want $1,000 down on us to win that week. That's all I'm asking for. I mean, and it's $1,000. I mean, it's minuscule, right? But this is a fun bonus, and it's an incentive, right? Obviously, these players are trying to win. They're trying to but do you think the players would not want to win a little bit more if in their contract they were able to work out, all right, every game, maybe not 1,000, maybe 5,000. 5,000 on me to win and us to win because I love this team. That's how confident I am. Put it in the contract. Will they ever do that? 100% no, because the NFL has this very strict no betting policy. When you're in the NFL, you cannot bet on any other NFL games. That is what happened, and that's why all those Lions players got suspended. Calvin Ridley got suspended 2 years prior for it. And now it is being reported that the Colts cornerback Isaiah Rodgers is also being investigated for sports betting. And when I was looking through the ESPN article, and I'll just quickly summarize it here, they were pretty much saying that the way that they found out it was him is because it was like an acquaintance of him, super close, that was putting in bets anywhere from, it's at $25 to $50, and then there was a couple of 4-figure bets. So maybe 1,000, maybe 2,500. They were low 4-figure, it said. I'm lost, okay? And I know like people are really good at investigating. I'll never be an FBI agent. I was horrible at Clue. I can't figure shit out. Like my mind works, and then it just, once I get bored off of it, which if I'm like trying to get in the way of a man and his money, and I'm sports betting myself, and I'm trying to get this dude covered sports betting, I give up. Like I'm not gonna. Okay, I would be like, the bank statement doesn't say it's his name, thus it cannot be Isaiah Rodgers. Now, clearly, Isaiah Rodgers, like in the midst of this investigation, he did probably. I mean, the jury is going to be split on this half and half. He himself wrote a tweet on Monday, if you want to pull up this tweet, it wasn't a tweet, right? Tweets, you get a character lock. And this motherfucker went to the notes app. He said, addressing the current reports, I want to take full responsibility for my actions. I know I have made mistakes and I am willing to do whatever it takes to repair the situation. The last thing I ever wanted to do was to be a distraction to the Colts organization, my coaches, and my teammates. I've let people down that I care about. I made an error in judgment, and I am going to work hard to make sure that those mistakes are rectified through this process. It's an honor to play in the NFL, and I have never taken that lightly. I'm very sorry for all this. Don't be sorry, big dog. You were betting on your own team. Put it in your contract. Just tell them to put it in your contract. You love the thrill of gambling, and when you lose, you want to feel like a real fucking loser. Nick, part of the reason I gamble, the chase of coming back, right? Like this happened to me this past weekend at my house. We're watching UFC fights. First bet I put in, it was a straight bet on that fight. I win it. There was a piece of me that was like, fuck. Like I won money and I was still like, God damn it. Now I don't it's not like an epic comeback fucking 6-leg parlay to make up all the money that I lost throughout the day. No, I won and I was still upset. So I think part of it too is that Isaiah Rodgers, he also would want to feel like a true fucking losing degenerate if it was written into his contract. Think about that. All these players would do it. And let's see here. Not only would all these players do it, but think about all the charities. Think about all the nonprofits these players can help. Think about all these children that they don't get the chance to play football. And if we just let Isaiah Rodgers bet on his own team to win, I think it's fair to say that a percentage of that going to the Red Cross, going to Russell Wilson's charity, come on. That's the making of a Walter Payton Man of the Year. Man, this poor guy. His fucking friend was putting in bets. How shitty is that? Your friend's putting in bets on your behalf. And now your friend's gonna get the suspension or a boot. Like the worst thing is, it's still an investigation. And this was back to people will be halfway split on damn, did Isaiah Rodgers he could have got out of this, but now this man just tweets a notes app. He didn't even make a tweet. He made a notes app to apologize for this. You could have sold it okay, I mean, I don't know. Maybe getting to it early enough is diffusing the situation. Possibly. I feel bad for all these players that are getting nicked with this. I expect fully to see more of this shit happen over the next 5 to 10 years. Yeah. DraftKings, the number one sponsor of the NFL, but also the number one fucking suspender. They are just suspending people left and right. You can't even bet on other sports in the team facility. That's how a couple of the other players got. Their Wi-Fi location was in a team facility. They're betting on fucking cricket across the country. And it's God damn. All right. Now, into the most interesting segment that I've done so far up until this point. The top 5 NFC South quarterbacks. Let me just list them off for you here in reverse order, and then we're going to go through and we're going to dissect the stats. The top 5 NFC quarterbacks coming in at number 5 is Taylor Heineke of the Atlanta Falcons. Coming in at number 4 is Jameis Winston of the New Orleans Saints. Coming in at number 3 is Andy Dalton of the Carolina Panthers. Coming in at number 2, Baker Mayfield of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And coming in at number 1, the man, coming all the way from Las Vegas to New Orleans, Derek Carr. Let me give you some reasoning as to why I have completely overlooked what people are considering could possibly be the rookie of the year in the NFL, Bryce Young. I think that, in Carolina, it didn't work out at all for Baker Mayfield when he came through. they really haven't had much success since Cam Newton at the quarterback position. And it's been, now we're going on 7 years on this quarterback search. And I think that the Saints were honestly, our hands were tied. We had to let go of Andy Dalton. And then he goes to our division rival and the Panthers. And people are saying because Bryce Young got drafted so early that I think Bryce Young was 1 overall. I don't know. I'm blanking if it was him or CJ Stroud. Let me look up Bryce Young. He was drafted 1st overall. I always sound like an idiot on this podcast, and people always comment like, how do you have a football show? You didn't even know who was drafted 1st overall. Bro, there's a lot of shit going on. I'm a busy guy. My whole life isn't fucking playing Madden. All right? But I do have enough football knowledge to put together a goddamn good list. I'm gonna do it. Let's start with number 5, Taylor Heinicke. Taylor Heinicke, coming into his 6th year in the NFL, I believe. It'll be his 6th year this upcoming year. He started off his career in Houston. He went to Carolina, and then he had 3 what I would consider like really productive in the sense of he was going to make the bag being a backup quarterback based on his performance in Washington. And then he did like the unthinkable. All right. In 2021, when he started 16 games and he threw for 3,400 yards and he led the Redskins to a playoff contention, that right there showed me a lot. And he got snubbed last year. And I thought it was Ron Rivera being overlooked by his religious beliefs. And I'm not even kidding about that. Like, the man fought cancer. He was very close to Jesus. Carson Wentz is like fucking Tim Tebow 2.0 when it comes to Christ. They were like, we can make this happen with the Commanders and a shitty owner. They didn't. They eventually, after 8 games, I believe a Carson Wentz injury, they had to put Taylor Heinicke in. And Heinicke came in and he did what a quarterback put in a shitty situation did. He performed mediocrely. However, him being thrown into the fire like how he was last year in that whole situation has really, I feel, lit a fire underneath this young man's ass to be an electric player for the Atlanta Falcons. Now, people are saying, George, you are so bad at understanding football. Desmond Ridder is going to be the starting quarterback of the Falcons. And I do agree with you. I do agree with you that Desmond Ridder at the end of last year put together enough of a case to say, all right, I think that him throwing in 4 games for 700 yards and throwing for 2 touchdowns, like, I think that mixed with leadership and him going through the Marcus Mariota learning, right? Like, he was learning from a player who was pretty good, won a Heisman. Marcus Mariota is decent. But I would not be surprised if in fall camp, even after OTAs, that people aren't saying, hey, you should probably keep an eye on Taylor Heinicke taking over at some point in time this season for the Falcons and playing successfully. I'm a huge fan of Taylor Heinicke. I think there are obvious talent flaws. Like, he is not the quickest person on the field. He is not the brightest quarterback as far as making decisions. But I think he does what I've always said a good quarterback should do, and is hand the ball off, shut the fuck up, and don't throw interceptions. For the most part, he does that. He doesn't cause controversy. He excellent right here, sticks it right into the gut a lot. And, if you're a good quarterback, those 3 things are in you. All right? Those 3 things are in you. Even think about Aaron Rodgers, all right? He gets a lot of his big plays off of play action passes. It's because he's an excellent handoff. Taylor Heinicke comes in at number 5 on my list. And that one's going to be the one where everyone's like, how did you not put Bryce Young anywhere in this list? I'm telling you that Bryce Young is going to have a very, 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 very mediocre year. Enough said. My own personal belief. Coming in at number 4 on my list, though, for NFC South quarterbacks is Jameis Winston. All right. This was all last year. I was fired up that we had Jameis. I was convincing myself that, man, not only do we have like this year to be happy about, but I was like, this is longevity. Jameis is young. You know, he came back off an injury and now he's going to be like our stud again. And Andy Dalton ended up playing a majority of the snaps last year. And that's why Andy Dalton ranks so high on my list. And if you think Andy Dalton isn't going to start over Bryce Young, we'll touch on that a little bit later. But Jameis Winston, I mean, I don't know what else to say. 30 touchdowns, 30 interceptions in a year is what everyone's always going to remember and think about. But this dude, for the Saints, just really has never gotten a fair shake. And it's not a knock. Like, his stats for the Saints is not a knock on the career he had. Literally leading up to playing for the Saints, all his years in Tampa Bay, 4,000 yards passing, 4,000 yards passing, 3,500 yards passing, 3,000 yards passing, 5,000 yards passing. Starting all the games, being that steady rock, not starting all the games in 2017, 2018, but he definitely hasn't gotten a lot of playing time for the Saints, also due to injury. But it doesn't change the fact that he's still a ex-Heisman quarterback who has the possibility of, in a wild world, if Derek Carr goes down, we got Jameis Winston. He's next up. And that's a very reliable spot. And the fact that I'm listing a Saints backup in a top 5 list here, right, for a division of quarterbacks, it makes me hopeful, baby. We got a chance. I always tell people who play backup quarterback, I'm like, I've never seen a singular NFL season at that a starting quarterback literally plays every single snap from start to finish. So be ready, right? Your backups better be ready. Coming in at number 3 on the list is the man that I was referring to that will be starting over Bryce Young, and that is Andy Dalton. Andy Dalton, last year for the Saints, throws for 2,800 yards, 66% completion percentage. We had to shift the offense a lot last year. We were a very, very, very run-heavy offense, especially towards the end of the year. I mean, if you watched any of the Saints games, or even if you go back and you watch the Saints play the Eagles in December of last year, it was a nasty – we had a lot of shitty weather games down the road there for the Saints. The Saints never do good with that. But we did. Like, it shocked me. I was like, wow, we are actually rising to the occasion here. And it was because we had a guy, a veteran leader like Andy Dalton. And now Andy Dalton has to do what is like probably the worst thing in the world to do. You have to bear the storm of everybody in the front office thinking that this young rookie is going to be the one that is leading us to win games. Andy Dalton, I'm going to be honest, he's felt some type of way for a while, right? After he leaves the Bengals, who do the Bengals get? Joe Burrow. He comes to the Saints. He has to play second fiddle for, or actually, no, remember, he went to the freaking Cowboys. Then he went to Chicago. He's like, he went to Chicago, had to deal with the whole Justin Fields thing. He goes to Dallas, has to go through that whole year where Dak's injured and they started Cooper Rush and Ben DiNucci and all that shit. Comes to the Saints, plays the most games he's played since 2017. And now gets dropped from the Saints, picked up by the Panthers. And now they're like, do we utilize him to be the veteran mentoring the young one, or do we win now? And it's something that you will have to study the film to determine whether or not Bryce Young is ready. But a lot of these quarterbacks aren't. And if your team is okay with losing now in hopes that by the end of the season, the rookie matures, then good luck to you, Carolina Panthers. You guys are going to fucking be horrible this year. If you guys start Andy Dalton, I think there is a better chance that the Panthers eventually win some games early on. And, Andy Dalton, I feel at a point in time, like, if he feels it's right and he feels like Bryce Young is better than me and he's playing shitty, he's a man that's going to accept that role in mentoring. And that's why I really like Andy Dalton. He did a lot for the Saints last year. He's a better quarterback than most people give him credit for. The one thing you can add on to those three things that he does, hand the ball off, shut the fuck up, don't throw interceptions that much, which he kind of is bad at, but he replaces it with being super conservative. The dude does not make any big-time mistakes down the field, which you're like, all right, nice. We'll take chunks at a time. Very Drew Brees-esque. Coming in at number 2 for the NFC South quarterbacks is Baker Mayfield. Now, I know everybody and their mom has been seeing these Instagram clips that I will let me just pull one up here as I'm talking about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But their quarterbacks have been playing really bad. Like at practice, they're missing people. Buccaneers QBs missing tight ends. Off to a rocky start. It's like here we are. If you want a screen share. Baker Mayfield with a little overthrow there, solidifying that he's number 2. All right, here we go, Kyle Trask. These videos have been going, like, I've seen at least 4 of them since I've seen this was the very first one that I ever saw. But I've now seen, like, everybody's, like, making it a point to go film the quarterbacks, like, sucking, right? I mean, it's shorts and T-shirts, bro. 41 probably isn't going to be playing in the NFL this year. Boom. We'll end on that one. Take that screen share off. Now, Baker Mayfield, the reason why I love him, one, what an iconic Rose Bowl game that man had in that entire season. I was at that Rose Bowl game. I remember all the hype leading up to it, that season where he plants the Oklahoma flag on Ohio State's field. He himself is different than most. What I mean by his differences are that Baker Mayfield is not afraid to let his ego play into how good of a player he is. His ego is a big reason as to why he's made it to where he has. He's led the Browns to their first fucking playoff appearance in millennia, right? He broke the curse. Everyone was like, the Browns, dog shit. The Browns suck. I'm going to live on my roof till the fucking Browns win another game. That actually did happen. I remember there was a dude who was living on his roof until they won a game. It was pretty entertaining. He did that, but then he has to go through like this weird career revitalization. He goes to Carolina at the start of last year and plays pretty fucking terrible. Part of it had to do with Matt Rule also being fired. Like early in the year, it was this weird thing where it's like they bring Baker and Matt Rule are going to have this connection. It didn't work out. Boom. Fired and then traded. He moves to the Rams. That first game back, it was a Monday Night Football game versus the Raiders, in which I was watching very intently. Because at the time, I was still so confused on who the Raiders were as a team. But the one thing I knew they were was fucking losers. And like that remained consistent. I was like, okay, they have stretches like Devontae Adams really is unstoppable. Max Crosby's making plays, but I don't know. They're just fucking losers. So I was watching the game. The Rams were projected to lose, right? So like the Raiders winners. Whoa, shocker. Uh-oh, fucking super scared here. It was the same week that Baker flies over. On 2 days' notice, he flies over, learns the playbook, and is playing in that game versus the Raiders on Monday night. I remember vividly making a lot of money that night. I think I put $20 down on, they were, at the moment in time that I put the bet in, I think it was at the end of the first quarter, the Raiders were up 14-0. Bad spot for the Raiders to be in. Way too confident. Put $20 on the Rams at like 7-1 to come back to win. They did it. Baker Mayfield only knew the playbook for 2 days. That was enough to beat the Raiders. That is the type of player that he is. A player that doesn't have a little bit of ego and edge would have fucking fumbled in that moment, flustered. He is all about it. I think the Buccaneers are one of the more scarier teams in the NFC South. It's the team that everyone's overlooking, but we have to play them twice. And I'm kind of, it's going to be a big game. The Saints know it's going to be a big game. And if I myself am looking at Derek Carr versus Baker Mayfield, it's a flip of the coin, in my opinion, as to like who's the better quarterback in that situation. But I'm always going to favor my Saints. And that's why at number one, the top quarterback in the NFC South is Derek Carr. I've shit on this man a lot, and I mean literally pulled my pants down and shit on this man. Happy Pride Month. He had an amazing career with the Raiders. This past season, can't really like work things out. I remember at the end of the year last year, they started Jared Stidham. And that was the straw that broke the camel's back, and that's why he ended up being a New Orleans Saints. He has been working with John Gruden. Our coach Dennis Allen has really embraced this. Let's make you the player you once were in Oakland. So if I look at the player that he once was in Oakland, I look at a player that let's see here, it was the year 2021, he throws for 4,800 yards for the Raiders. Also, while they were in Oakland, he had fucking like almost 3,500 yards over his entire career. He's at 64.6% completion-wise, 91.8% quarterback rating. Actually, what's RTG? I'm learning a stat here. Do you know what RTG would be? RTG, a radioscopic thermoelectric generator. Let's look up RTG QB stats. Is that a quarterback rating? What does RTG mean? What the fuck? I hate when Google's like, it asks you for the people ask. What is a good RTG for a quarterback? Oh, so it's a passer rating. It's just a passer rating. So I was right. 91.8% passer rating. QBR, that's the thing on it. There's QBR, there's passer rating, there's fucking stat for this, stat for that, blah, 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 blah. Use my stat. Derek Carr is the best quarterback in the NFC South. I think the Saints have a very good chance with him and Jameis Winston, if something goes wrong, at winning the division, and not only winning the division, but taking a top seed. Our schedule's really easy this year, and if the Saints can take advantage of that easy schedule, the later half of the years, like all Nick Day's pointed out to me, it's all indoor stadiums, really cool weather. We aren't going to be having to go play Philadelphia in December, and it's fucking snowing on the field. Not fun. All that being said, it's been a fun show, fun list. Nick, I'm glad you were able to be my engineer once again for this wonderful show. Ladies and gentlemen, we're on the road to 6,000 subs. So make sure you go and subscribe to @Gridiron Junkeez. That is it. I'm Mr. George Carmona. Peace out. See you next week.